And below that, I put, in both cases, I donated my time to these events. And then someone has added in red, council must approve an employee acting on their official position donating their time due to liability, workman's compensation, and other state mandates. I'm a salary employee. I work those events all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've been called out in the middle of the night. In fact, one of the last times was when a vehicle traveled into Ms. Rosenfield's yard at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was called out. The officer was by himself. He needed help. I got dressed and came out. Did I put it on my timesheet? No. I'm salaried. And that officer did request my assistance because he called me. Officer Weckman.
Another document that was submitted to us last minute for us to address was fiscal year 2010 heat grant. It reads, 11/9/2009, officers began working heat shifts again for fiscal year 2010 heat grant. That's the high visibility enforcement of aggressive traffic. And it reads, grant has been submitted and approved by the state without authorization from the council or notification to the council or administration that heat shifts would begin. Again, no documentation on grant, no documentation for request for payment submittal before scheduling shifts. Now, on November 30th, Monday, November 30th, the chief received the contracts from the state. He does not have access to his paperwork because he's been locked out. Now, it's my understanding that the chief asked numerous times to have this matter put on the agenda. In fact, there was email request to the city clerk that the matter be placed on the agenda. It was never part of the agenda. We have a correspondence from the State Patrol dated today, December 6, 2009, to whom it may concern. The Belle Plaine Police Department is currently participating in HEAT, high visibility enforcement of aggressive tactics. The current phase started in October 2009. The Belle Plaine Police Department, along with the police departments from Lino Lakes, Blaine, Osseo, and Dayton, have been participating in that part of the statewide HEAT program, which is being facilitated through District 2500 West Metro of the State Patrol. Until recently, none of these departments had a fully executed contract, and all of them were already participating and working towards saving lives, reducing crashes, and contributing towards the success of the project. Now, the author of this letter is Captain Tom Fraser, commander of the West Metro State Patrol. He writes, I contacted Sergeant Morose, who coordinates the HEAT and other grant projects, both federal and state funded. He confirmed my belief that no one in the state had a fully executed contract when they all started working HEAT in October. That includes numerous cities in all 11 different patrol districts across the state. Both Sergeant Morose and the civilian employee who handles the paperwork and contracts for HEAT, Safe and Sober, and Nightcap, and the others, both stated that they have no knowledge of any issues or problems with the administration, participation, or paperwork from and or dealing with the Belle Plaine Police Department. Also, they made it clear that this is a normal situation and it happens routinely across the state and across the different programs and has been that way for quite some time. As soon as all the paperwork is in place, the money is then paid to the participating agencies.
I received the contracts last Monday. I provided those to Mr. Murphy that day. I also wrote memos to the council and provided those to Ms. Krings that Monday. On Tuesday, she emailed me back the resolutions. I had not had a chance to, that was the end of the day, and on Wednesday, I was relieved. Consequently, I don't know why it's not on the agenda tonight. She was made aware on a meeting we had on the agenda on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. The items were not on the agenda, and I asked that they be put on there, and she agreed to. I believe someone has requested they be removed.
There's another document in the packet, timeline for post-board reimbursement, post-board, Peace Officer Standards and Training, reimbursement for continuing education. And it's a timeline that starts with July 23rd, 2009 and ends with 8/6/2009. Okay. And the summary reads, David Lanning filled out a state reimbursement form with incorrect information and submitted it to the state without approval of administration. He lied to me regarding the status of the submittal. I spoke to him about the process for submitting reimbursements for employee time. All reimbursement requests for employee time must go through the payroll department to ensure accuracy. Well, the second to the last page is an email from the chief to Mr. Murphy dated Friday, August 7th, 2009. David, wanted to give you an update on the training reimbursement. Wednesday afternoon, I discovered I had mailed the forms in to post and they were incomplete. I guess I did this when I mailed documents in for Cassie. I remember making out the envelope and paper clipping it all together with copies. I got the numbers from Dawn and got it to post. I was told it did not change the amount we will receive for each officer, which will be $390 each. Sorry about the mess. Also spoke to the county attorney and the sheriff. Both will be at the meeting on the 17th, Dave. Mr. Lanning adamantly denies that he lied to Mr. Murphy or anybody else in the city. And I'd like you to hear it from Mr. Lanning himself.
I inadvertently gave them this. It was incomplete. And if you look at it, on page 204, the agency name at the top is incorrect. The date is not put at the bottom. I made a mistake, and I made him aware of my mistake.
It's our understanding that the city has not received a formal complaint from a citizen regarding Chief Lanning's conduct in the field. This seems to be driven by two people, the city administrator and an administrative assistant for the police department, and we don't know why. But there appears to be some other motive here. The chief has done the best he possibly can to address these spurious allegations in the very short period of time that he was provided in an effort to deal with this. We are here to address these because the chief wants to be police chief, loves his job, moved here from Kansas with his family to continue a career in law enforcement. He has done a fine job as police chief for the city, as evidenced by the support he has here. He is here for his life, he is here for his livelihood.